Good morning for evening, all you Dragon Soul knowledge seekers and fanatics. Alright, so it appears that servers 9 through 11, or I believe all servers now, have runes. So a lot of you are going to be very new to this rune system, and I'll do a quick explanation of everything and give you a few examples of heroes to work on. Now, if you've watched my first video, you'll see I gave an explanation on ocean sets, mist sets, flame sets, tree sets, how they all work out, what they do for your heroes, and how they benefit you. Now, if you remember, there's two sets, which are you put two of them on. Like if you see, for example, here, two mists, and then you get the bonus. It'll say down in this left corner down here, it'll say mist set, and then magic resist plus 40%, and then there's your list of runes that are all in that category. Now the two sets are tree runes, rock runes, mist runes, blood runes, and hail runes. Those are all your two sets. Now four sets, it will require you to put on four of them, and that'll take up all six of your spots. Four sets include flame set, ocean set, bolt set, and river set. Now keep an eye on how you or on what these sets give for those of you who are just getting into runes. And you basically got to find out what's best for your hero. Like ocean set gives you the skill power boost of plus 25%, and skill power increases those green numbers right there. See how Dracul has a lot of green numbers right there, and that'll give a 25% boost, so I put that on him. His skills are very, very crucial with skill power. Now if you want to look at other heroes that require, such as the flame set, we can go look at Unicorgi. I have flame runes on him, and if you notice, there's orange numbers there. That's where your basic damage is located. Flame runes will increase your basic damage by 25%. So you notice how most of his, except for that one, will require it. Another thing to look at is their basic attack. Their basic attack will tell you if it's basic damage or skill power. This one is basic damage, so that is also an orange number pretty much. Now if you look on this panel down here, you'll notice there's orange numbers on a lot of his stats. Those are where all your rune bonuses are. It'll tell you not used for any of his damages that he doesn't use. And basically, for example, this will give you starting energy boost, this will give you starting energy, and that'll give you starting energy. So if you look down on my starting energy, where is it at? Right there, plus 324 from just runes alone. That's coming from those. Yep, and just those. Very important aspect to look at is not only your primary up top, but also your tertiary, which are those four stats down there on the bottom. Those are also very important to look at, and in one of my other videos I explain how to maximize the benefit of tertiaries. So alright, I'm gonna run through a few heroes, and then that way you'll get a good idea of how your primaries should look. Like here, I got my major left, and major runes are upper runes on top. There's two of them, and if you notice, he's all skill power. That'll help maximize his necrotic and his impale features. Now down here, I run starting energy on him. For you later servers, I am not sure if you have acquired the hero that we use, known as Dragon Slayer. Let's see if I can find her. There she is. Now, right now on our earlier servers, Dragon Slayer is a very crucial hero to have because of her banner. Her banner will block energy stealing. Now with that block of energy stealing, it changed the battlefield on our servers, and many of our heroes will require starting energy now. If you don't have her, or if you have her yet, then a good thing to run is like magic penetration or fury on Dracul. But it's very important when you're looking at him to maximize that necrotic damage tertiary. If you look down on number 3 spot on the tertiary list, there's a 15% there. And then if you look here, there's a 10% there. And if you look there, there's a 10% there. He is gaining a grand total of 35% extra necrotic damage. If you notice, it'll show down here, right at the bottom, extra 35% on that. That will help boost that a lot. Alright, now I got my Void Revern, and he also runs on skill power majors. A big thing for him is to run on expertise as much as you can. I don't have all expertise on him because I was looking for more of the necrotic damage right there, for example. And this one I'm still working on trying to find a necrotic rune for him or a good expertise rune. But you might want to run necrotic as much as you can on him because his attacks are necrotic. And also, I don't have his perfect keystone. His perfect keystone, instead of cooldown reduction, will have necrotic damage in it. If basically when you're running your keystones on your heroes, you'll want to maximize their elemental damage on there. For example, if you look at Ninja will have the option to put bashing damage on him. I don't have the bashing damage on him either. I've been trying to farm it almost since runes came out. I can never ever get that right one. Another key factor on keystones is to get their core stat on there. If you notice, I have agility growth on my dwarf, and then on his keystone I have intellect. Now it's really important to run that key stat. Some of them have pretty strange key stats, like King Kaiju. You wouldn't expect him to be an agility based hero. I don't have the agility on there. I got starting energy instead. But he's an agility based hero, so I kind of feel it's optional to run agility or not. I mean, his one of the reasons that agility works for him is because of his crit rating. The effectiveness of how much he crits. It's not too bad if you look at his crit rating there in the left panel. It's at 5,000. I mean, if you had his core stat in there, you would probably get another 1,000 maybe. And, the more he crits, the more damage he'll do. Critting is, basically how many is, a boost to your attack, giving you 100% plus damage. Alright, so let's run through this few more of these heroes. Wee Witch, I've boosted her up with skill power. I'm looking for a skill power there, but I'm also looking for a starting energy. She is also one to run on starting energy for her attacks. And for her keystone, I run with intellect, magic penetration, and skill power growth. Another thing about these heroes is they'll run either skill power growth or basic damage growth, depending on if they're an agility based tune or an intellect based tune. See, if you don't have the starting energy set, or if you don't have Dragon Slayer, then it would be good to run 2 Furies and a magic penetration on her. For tertiaries, she doesn't have any specific damage types really. So, for tertiaries, you can do expertise. Expertise will help boost the magic resist ignoration that she does. And that's pretty much it. Cooldown reduction would help with her. Magic penetration, if you have Fury primaries on 2 of them, and then magic penetration underneath, that will also help as well. But if you do have Dragon Slayer on your servers, then it would be really good to have her set up with starting energy. Now on to Storm Drake. I ran a bolt set on Storm Drake, and right now I'm trying to switch over to starting energy, but what I'm trying to look for him is electrical damage. See, I have a 10% electrical damage area, and that's pretty good for him. And then this one is only a 6.3%. It'll turn into, I believe, a 9% once I 5-star it, but I don't deem it quite enough, so I leave it at 4-star for now. This one is only at 4-star as well. It's really good to have your runes. If it's not a perfect rune for your character, you can keep it at 4-star, so they at least get a decent boost from it. and then bring it to 5-star when you find that perfect rune for them. I run both skill power and magic resist up top. This one's also being worked on getting a skill power up here. And for a keystone, if you notice here, I have intellect, electrical damage, and magic penetration. Now, one thing about keystones you can do is you can click on a keystone down here that's, not imbued into your hero. You can click choose hero, and if you look on the right panel there, you can see what these stats are that you can give to your hero. Now, see, if you look on this list, you can pretty much deem which are the best ones to have for him. Intellect, which is, like I said earlier, a core stat and a very good thing to have for him. Electrical damage is his elemental damage, and then magic penetration as well. Magic penetration, if you didn't watch my earlier videos, is basically how much magic resist your magic attacks will ignore. Also, a good reminder is that magic damage is also a very key thing, or also a very important thing to look at. Magic damage doesn't always equal, the skill power. A good key hero to look at for that would be Thief, Master Thief. If you notice that all those numbers right there are orange. Now, orange runs on basic damage, remember, but you look on the bottom here, it says magic damage. And then another hero to look at on the other side of that spectrum would be Genie. If you notice on Genie, his are green, which is all skill power, but if you notice his physical damage. Alright, so moving on, I don't know if you have Internal Chanter yet, but he's basically a starting energy type character with skill powers and intellect and skill power in here. I haven't found his perfect set, but you basically want to do magic penetration. He's not much of a damage dealer though, so I guess it wouldn't be too important. Bulwark Angel is another big one, except you want to run as much fury as possible on him, or starting energy would also work. I have a three set here: tenacity, fury, and starting energy for now, because I'm trying to maximize on holy damage. And originally I started out with fury set on him. I switched to tenacity over here because of the holy damage 9.45%. That should increase up to, I believe, 15% once I 5-star that one. So that one will be a keeper on him. I'm sorry. Bile is a very key hero at Cyan now, and starting energy is what I run with Bile. That's a basic tank set, armor, strength, and fury. And then I run armor majors on him. Toxic damage would be his go-to because of this right there. And bashing damage would also be good to have on him too, on her too. So, Ancient Idol, what I did with Ancient Idols, I maximized electrical and fire damage. Fire damage for the basics, electrical damage for the white skill. Now, if you notice, I did fire damage, mostly on here, but I also tried to include electrical damage on there. See, this one just has electrical, whereas this one has fire, and these ones have fire and electrical. I run skill power majors, and I also take advantage of that electrical damage and the skill power. I believe there isn't an intellect, I'm sorry, on here. So basically, you can do your basic damage on him. This one right here requires basic damage. It's also a true damage, by the way. So that'll ignore any sort of armor or magic resist. And that is for the white skill. This one is a necrotic damage over time. And, his cursing is... This one is his key stat, though. And this is fire damage. His basic attacks now do a skill power number. And is a damage over time skill. And it's always his basic attacks. So he's a good, damage over time hero to have. His basic attack is magic damage. Now down to Cyclops Shaman. Now ideally you want to run expertise all across the board. Now I'm working on trading into expertise as soon as I can find good electrical damage tertiaries. If you notice here, I have 6.3% there. I have a 20% there. That is an amazing expertise rune to get for him. Not to mention, I also have all of his stats are good on him except for that fire damage. Another one is electrical damage here as well. Once I get that, he will give maximum expertise. The reason I do that is for this one right here, which will give energy to himself and his allies every second. I run skill power majors on him, and for here, this is what you want for a keystone. Intellect, his main his core stat. Electrical, his core elemental stat. Skill power, which is he's an all green numbered hero. Now, for the next step after that, I have Raging Revenant. Basically, what I did with him is I tried to maximize necrotic damage the best I can. That is why I have this accuracy rune, so I can have that necrotic right there. And I have this bonus crit damage with that necrotic right there. Now, I run skill power majors because he is another one of those physical heroes, but has green numbers for skill power. And then you want to run expertise and intellect. That's usually a thing to have for him. Another good thing to have would be mostly armor or max health. Max health can help too, but basically lifesteal is not really that needed when you're at higher rarities. So, and also you'll notice that blood runes are going to be pretty much food in the higher levels. Alright, Roller Warrior. I ran basically a movement speed with a crit set on her. That's crit rating growth and crit damage, because if you notice, her crit rating down here has a 5,000 on it, which is not too bad for her. And due to her new legendary skill, crit rating crit damage and crit rating is really, really helpful for her. She gains health on that. I have an armor, agility, and basic damage growth. Agility and basic damage are very, very needed. She is a frontline damaging hero, so I would deem armor pretty useful. Pretty much, yeah, that's Fury would work for her. And so on the majors, I have all basic damage. You'd want to maximize bashing damage on her. I don't really have much of bashing damage. This one, I got some bashing damage. And you know, it's really, really tough to get those perfect tertiaries that you want. Moving on, we have Plant Soul. Plant Soul, she can heal, and she's an amazing tank to have. I have her on a tank set. She can also be used as river set. If you notice, I have 2 mists, I have 2 rocks, and I have 2 trees. I ran starting energy and fury all the way down here. Slashing damage is really good for her. She's not much of a damage dealer though. And then you want to run skill power up top, or you can run armor. If you're running a fury set, the more armor she has, the less health she's going to lose, so the less energy she'll gain from it. Fury is basically, you know, how much energy you gain based on the health that you lose. I ran skill power up top, trying to get, you know, maximize the healing that I can. A good set of tertiaries to run for her also. This one, and this is also a good healing factor. But expertise, I didn't run much on expertise, but expertise will increase that blue number right there. Expertise is also a good tertiary because of this one right here. She gains energy every time an enemy uses, or every time an ally uses a skill. And this one, because every time one of them dies, she'll absorb energy, helping her get into her soul guard more often. So that's what I run on her. I run 2 Furies and a starting energy. Her tenacity is amazing as it is, so I don't really deem that necessary. But if you'd like to have her tenacity even further, you're more than welcome to. Alright, moving on down the list some more. Unicorgi, he has become a very popular hero to use. I run starting energy as my primaries. I'm trying to look for movement speed and slashing damage for his tertiaries. Now, trying to get 2 stats on a tertiary is very, very hard to do. But the quicker you want to run also starting energy tertiaries up here as well. I'm working on that. I have bashing damage, or basic damage as both of his majors. And then I run a crit rating, agility, and basic damage growth keystone, because that crit rating is also a decent level at pretty much over 5,000. It's good for having a crit rating. You don't have to, but it's helpful. Alright, so basically you want her to try to get to the front of the line and take out the line with her white skill. At first it doesn't seem like it does much damage, but you know, you'll find out that it does do a lot more damage. Moondrake, she is very, very, very important to have a river set and running starting energy as much as you can. It's good to have starting energy tertiaries up here as well. I don't have any currently. And then for her keystone, I don't have her perfect keystone, but magic penetration and skill power is good to have. Intellect, there's her core stat right there. That's what you want to have for her ideally. All right, moving on down the list, we got Dungeon Man. He is an all expertise hero just because of this right here, starting with as much energy. You want to get as much starting or expertise up here and up here as well. And he doesn't have expertise in there, even though that's one of his primary stats, but whoops, not that one. But basically intellect, skill power, and then crit rating. I don't believe crit rating would be that great, but it can be helpful. I just went with, the accuracy, so his his die can hit a lot more. I mean, his crit rating here is only 2,000. I don't understand why they put that in his keystone stats. Spectral Drake, you want to either use all Fury or use all starting energy, depending on if you have Dragon Slayer or not. I do all magic resist up top because he can't take any physical damage whatsoever. I also include magic resist, strength growth for more health, and then more fury up there as well. The quicker he can possess, the better it gets. He is not much of a damage dealer, but if you want, you can put necrotic tertiaries on him. Dwarven Archer, a very important hero to have. I run all attack speed majors, and then I run agility, attack speed, and basic damage for more attack speed, and then I run accuracy, movement speed, and bonus crit damage. Accuracy at Cyan isn't really that important anymore. Accuracy is gaining a big boost. She gains a little boost. She doesn't gain the big major gear boost that some of them are getting. But basically what you want to do for her is get her to the line, get her to her position in line as fast as possible. I ran Flame Set on her, and Hail is going to be changing pretty soon to probably a Mist as soon as I can. Ninja Dwarf, I ran a little bit through him, but basically what you want to do for him, you want to get him also to the line as quick as possible, and then try to maximize on bashing damage as much as you can. That explains why I have the starting energy primary there. He has a 15% chance, or 15% increase in bashing damage. I also have a 20% there for bonus crit damage. He also doesn't have that bad of a crit rating growth. He's at 6,000 right there at Cyan, and I don't have him fully geared. I ran attack speed, and this one is working on being turned into basic damage growth. Basically, I want to try to, and I want to try to get him to start using his green skill as quick as possible. The ideal set for him would be agility, movement speed, and bashing damage. That would be the best thing to get for him. Like I said before, I've been farming for his rune for his keystone forever. It's just had the worst luck ever. Now Dust Devil, I ran an ocean set on him. You want to have expertise in his keystone. Expertise is very, very important for him. Fire damage will also work, and intellect will work. I haven't really focused too much on his keystone because I'm basically happy with his expertise, but you want to run expertise as much as you can down here. Fire damage will be a good tertiary to run. And I have a basic tank set here. You can run skill power if you want, but he is there to use this right here. This right here is his core stat, or his core skill you want to exploit the most. Now, the higher the expertise you have, the more damage, or the more percentage that will be. The more percentage, the more damage your other supporting heroes with him will use. Spirit Wolf is another big meta hero to have. Starting energy all across the board, and try to get as much movement speed as you can. If your Dungeon Man is at Cyan, full Cyan, and has enough expertise, you can run her with River Set and basically have two starting energies with starting energy up here and starting energy up here, and have a full movement speed right here. Now, the quicker she can jump on the line, if you have D-Slayer, that is, the quicker that she can use her white skill and basically render the whole team useless. I run starting energy here. Ideally, it'd be nice to have intellect, skill power, and starting energy on her. That would be her ideal set right there. Moving on after her, we will move on to, we could skip over Plague. He's not really that important as a key character, but Ambush Spider, I've been working on getting him back up to par with what he used to be. Like, for example, this blood set right here. That's just ugly. But you want to run starting energy all across the board because he's a starting energy hero. Movement speed isn't also a very important thing to have. The quicker he gets it's a she. The quicker she gets to the line, the faster she can start taking out those tasty heroes. I run basic damage. This will soon change to basic damage as soon as I get out of this blood rune set. I haven't ruined her in a while. For her primary stats, you want to run max health would be pretty good to have, but toxic damage and armor penetration are the key things to have. For that other one, you can run max health, you can run armor. Lifesteal, like I said before, is an important lifesteal. They get a good enough boost from that. Starting energy and movement speed all across the board, though. Moving on to the next hero, Berserker is a very key tank to have. I run with Fury all across the board and larger shields right here. Basically, what you want to first try to do is try to get larger shields as much as you can across the top and across the bottom. And expertise. Expertise is probably what I will be looking for down here when I work on him further. Larger shields is a really good thing to have on him up here. Also, his strength, and you can run armor, starting energy on him. He's not a big damage dealer, but if you'd like, you can put necrotic on him. I'm just running that set because that was the best set I could find with the larger shields on it and the strength on it. Alright, so moving on. He can also be a river hero, by the way. That's also a thing to work on with him. Dragon Slayer, I don't know if you have her yet, but right now I'm just trying to maximize on bashing damage. I haven't ruined too much into her yet. She is still new, but expertise, everyone is talking about being the thing up here on her, and armor growth would be another thing for. Oh yeah, bashing damage is also a good tertiary to run on her. I believe I did mention that. Alright, and then for this one. For her, strength, basic damage, and fury would be good on her. You can run armor if you want, if you're not much up for the fury, but she can do pretty well for her damage. Like I said, for her main core right here is the banner that she does, because it'll block energy and it'll also boost accuracy too. Moving on, Goblin Trio, you want to run a max starting energy on him too. If you don't have the Dragon Slayer set, Fury is also a thing, but starting energy is very important. He's a starting energy type hero. Right here, he starts the wave with 384 energy, and that is at 128. I'm not sure on exactly how the boosts work for. It might be 3 energy, it might be 2 energy per level, but we'll see how that works out. I'm not at 130 yet. I went with agility, dodge, and basic damage growth. But agility, basic damage, and attack speed would be the ideal set for Keystone. Basic damage growth at top. You want to try to maximize getting piercing damage on tertiaries here. Also use another one that I'm trying to work on getting out of the blood set. You can also run a flame set on him, but most likely, since he's a front line, you want to run rock 2 sets for him, give him that little bit extra armor. Alright, and moving on, we have Orc. It's just basically there for the necrotic block on his legendary. I won't really dwell into him too much. Master Thief can be a really powerful hero to have. I run a basic damage, and I'm working on a basic damage up here as well. Get some improved healing in some tertiaries to help boost her, but she pretty much heals enough. Bashing damage is her key stat to have in her tertiaries. If you notice, with this one is a bashing damage, and this one is a bashing damage. This one not as good as that one, but basically you want to try to get this skill right here, because she has this crazy boost of right here, taking buffs from other teams, which also includes Dungeon Man starting energy. I run a basic damage, cooldown reduction, and agility set on her. If you look in here, piercing damage would be a good alternative to cooldown reduction. She doesn't use piercing damage except for her basic attack and her purple right here. Her purple is a really also key skill to have for her because of her absorbing damage, and she blasts it all right back at her, plus 50%. 50% of the absorbed damage plus that orange number there. Running a flame set on her, getting as much basic damage, running as much bashing damage. Oh, I have a bashing damage right there. That's why I still have that. Fury can also work with her. Fury will help her use that more often. I mean, she's got a good set of skills there, and she's a really good hero to have. Moving on down the line, I'll skip over Satyr. Nobody likes Satyr. I don't know why mine's that far up, but I guess I just have a soft spot for her. Now for Dark Horse, you want to run an Ocean set. He may be a tank hero, and people are saying, well, hey, why don't you run tank with him? He is there for his shield. That is his primary function. Skill power with larger shields, tertiaries up here. Skill power, larger shields, tertiaries down here. Larger shields, primary down here. You can run a little bit more expertise down here if you want. I don't have any there. And then for the Keystone set, I have larger shields, armor, and movement speed. Strength, obviously, is his core stat. So strength, larger shields, and armor would be the ideal set. You know, basically, the longer he lives, he'll help, keep damage off of the heroes in back of him. But rock set, ocean set, you want to maximize as much as you can as on this shield right here, which is another reason why Berserker is a key hero to have, which paired with him will boost. Barbarian at earlier levels, it's good to run Bolt. The faster she is, the better. That's why I have attack speed majors up top of here. Movement speed is a really good thing to have on her, but for her primaries, I run a Fury and crit set. I'm working on changing her. Obviously, if you can see, I still have blood runes there. For her Keystone, it'd be ideal to run agility, basic damage, and her third stat is, she really doesn't have much there. You can run dodge, you can run tenacity, or conservation. Lifesteal is also a useless stat, like I was saying. What you want to do for her is maximize on slashing damage, because she will do quite a bit. I haven't really done too much. This is why I kept this one, because my slashing turned into 10%, and also Fury. These two will be changed eventually into slashing damage and perhaps armor penetration, more Fury, or crit rating. She also does have a good crit rating, 5,900. I think she gains a little more at Cyan too. Moving on down the list. Were Dragon, he is a fire damage hero all the way around. He also does a little bit of damage over time for this right here. Or was it? Where was it? I think it was, he's a fire damage hero, and I believe he has something to do with necrotic damage. Like, it doesn't state it. Or damage over time, I'm sorry. But it doesn't state it. I can't remember exactly what I was told. But when I was building him, I was helped as maximize fire damage. Maximize fire damage as much as you can. Basic damage growth and primaries. I haven't really done too much on his Keystone, but strength, magic penetration, and armor would probably help. Starting energy actually doesn't seem too bad, but yeah, strength is his core stat, so you want to run that on him. He is a key war character to have. Spike running the ocean set due to the Dayquil running green skills. I run attack speed and armor growth for some reason. I haven't ruined him too much lately. He's kind of been back burner hero ever since then, but Fury and cooldown reduction is what I decided to run on him. I haven't done too much. Like I said, he's kind of become a back burner. But agility, basic damage, and piercing damage will be the ideal key stats for him. I don't have his perfect keystone. Piercing damage is a big thing for him because that's what he does. Piercing damage, piercing damage, um, piercing damage, and that's the big thing for him is that he'll take away shields once he uses his white skill, and remove energy. If you want to, you can work on him. He's not very important, but I figured I'd include him because he earlier, without this hero, without that hero, he might be nice. He used to be a great hero to have, but at Cyan, he's not so important now. Now on to Kaiju. Like I was talking about his key stats right there. Agility is on there. I run skill power, starting energy, and fire damage. I'm not too keen on the agility, I guess. But what I run with him is you want to get his maximized fire damage because of his white skill, of course, and his hellfire, I believe. Starting energy is a really good thing to have. He already starts with starting energy, so it's good to get it more. What I plan on doing up here with these skill power majors is getting more starting energy up there in the tertiaries, maximizing fire damage down here. This one right here I really like because it's a 15% fire damage increase with starting energy on top of that. I decided to run a Fury on him for, because you can't always get that kill off of his first initial white. So why not try to get it boosted up more? Eventually I'll probably change the starting energy on him because he doesn't start with a full thing of starting energy. And magic penetration because it had fire damage and also magic penetration. This is a magic attack. Alright, and that's basically it for Kaiju. Now this is one of the key heroes to have nowadays. Everybody's changing over to Ocean set, but basically skill power majors is what you want to have. Get rid of this bolt thing and get rid of the blood. I've been working on his keystone lately. Agility, magic penetration, his expertise is what I have. You can run basic damage on him, but expertise and agility are the two main things to have. He's one of those kind of like really mixed ones, but see, his basic attack is the reason why they want to put basic damage on there, because it deals magical damage, but it's a basic damage number. But like I said, his key skill is that right there, is DOT. That's what you want to do on that. Now on to Medusa. And Medusa will be my last hero for now. I do have to go off to work here. I ran attack speed majors on her. It helps get her, quicker onto using her energy steal that she uses. I ran starting energy all the way across the board. She can also be used for all expertise. If you're a runer for all expertise, then you will be able to freeze through many dark horse shields. Basically, agility, starting energy is a big thing to have on her, and attack speed is what I ran on her. She's not much of a damage character, so I didn't really do much. Longer disables is also another thing to have. She's basically used for her gaze, and that's why I maximized her starting energy. Alright, this is all I can give for you today. I figured I'd do a quick rundown of many of the heroes that I have runed up, so that'll help you get started on, your new rune system. So, I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your Dragon Soul lives.